Hammond? Yeah, so you know those swords you make? Well, they're basically the same as the one that I used to get in the New World. Those ones were made of iron and bone. These ones are basically made of iron and bone. What's the difference? Okay, I'm sorry, I'll leave. Ladies, gentlemen, and monsters of all ages, I consider myself an extremely passionate person. I'm extremely vocal about how I feel about things, usually in a positive manner, telling you what I love about monsters or weapons or other various facets of the Monster Hunter series. But that is simply not what today is about. It's about the straight up passionate anger that I sometimes feel reading some people's opinions on the Monster Hunter series. Sometimes not even for the opinion itself, but simply for the thoughtless rudeness of the way that it is presented. I don't hate any of these people, but I sure do disagree with what they said at these specific moments. Sometimes I get a little over the top, but at the end of the day, I just want everyone to be a big, happy, loving community. Criticism within reason is cool, but criticism that is unfounded or straight up disrespectful just shouldn't happen. Simple as that. If you, like me, take some sort of pleasure in ranting to yourself about opinions like these and more, then follow over at the Bad Monster Hunter Takes Twitter account, who has been collecting a large number of people's bad takes on the series. Alright, Fukin, if you'd like to get us started. In relation to an announcement that the upcoming Monster Hunter title update will be 0.9 gigabytes in size, I was hoping for like 5 to 10 gigs update, crying face. How do I say this out loud, Cotton? Alright, this is how we're starting today then. Alright, fair enough. The game, the entirety of Monster Hunter Rise right now is a little bit over 7 gigabytes. You are asking for an update that is a minimum of 2/3 the size of the full game, and a maximum just straight up bigger than the game. I would say clearly you have no idea how the size of game files works, but that is already evident from the idea that a bigger file size update would result in more content necessarily. An update that is 0.9 gigabytes for Rise can be the same in scope as an update that is 10 gigabytes for another game. A AAA game like, I don't know, a great example is Call of Duty Warzone. It has since been compressed down, but there was a point where its files were like 100 gigabytes for users to have to download. Now it's a fraction of that, proving that the only thing that tells us what amount of content is in the update is the actual update itself. The size doesn't say much, it's all about the compression. Actually, if anything, it says that the update will be pretty sizable when you compare a 1 gigabyte update to a 7 gigabyte game. So let's all calm down a little bit until the update is out, okay? Fukin, we have a winner! The Switch Axe is your Monster Hunter Rise weapon type champion! Thanks to everyone who voted, and happy hunting out there! Bah, spoilers! I shouldn't know the popular choice when picking a weapon. Unfollowing Nintendo of Monster Hunter Rise as of today. Okay, look, if you consider the popularity level of a weapon to be a spoiler for the game, then you should absolutely not be following any sort of video game social media account, probably just ever. This is a bad take because you are being a little bit of a whiny little dingus, but I do agree with the decision that you and your sensibilities and the way that you think should not be following this account. On a more positive note here, congratulations, Switch Axe. I suppose this poll is quite specifically weighted towards Monster Hunter players who are both on Twitter and would be shown this polls that led to this tweet, but nonetheless, a victory is a victory. Personally, I quite like the Switch Axe in Rise. I've been having loads of fun with it, though I can say that about every single weapon that I have played so far. They're all fantastically fun. Fukin, remove longsword users, please. Use Flinch Free 1. Lol, muting this thread now because LS users can't not be toxic and own up to their mistakes. Whoa, somebody pick up a phone and call this person. Not call them a name, but have a god darn conversation with them. If you have a problem with being flinched in multiplayer, use a single flinch-free jewel. In Rise, this is a level 1 decoration. It is incredibly easy to acquire and incredibly easy to fit into pretty much any armor set that you could possibly imagine using. And if you are going to play multiplayer, I recommend using it quite a bit, especially for just how easy it is to fit in. I understand this mindset. Yes, by default in Monster Hunter, there is a sort of unspoken position that most weapons are supposed to be at least according to many players. Blunt weapons at the head, sharp weapons on the tail, range doing whatever they want because they're all wonderful people. Though, so with the rest of you, you're all great, have a nice day, and if I don't talk to you again, I hope you have a nice life too. But that is just not the way of thinking that you should have in modern Monster Hunter. And some people may disagree with me on this, but that's fine. We can now, in-game, look at the hit zones of every monster we fight, and almost ubiquitously, the weakest body part of a monster is the head, to both blunt and sharp damage to pretty much everyone, with very few exceptions having a weaker part elsewhere, meaning if your goal is simply to deal damage, to finish the hunt with as little impediment as possible, yeah, the sharp weapons are gonna spend a lot of time at the head, and while some weapons have a bit more control over their positioning, the reality of the situation is that the base longsword moveset is inherently quite wide-sweeping. If you are playing multiplayer, use one rank of flinch free. It's not that hard. If you don't even want it to be that general, only use the rank of flinch free when playing with a longsword user. In Monster Hunter Rise, you can change decorations in the tent during a quest, meaning you can literally join a join request at random, see a longsword user in the quest, and in your tiny little pea brain, sorry, that got a little mean for a second, you can use your mind to work out that you see this longsword as a flinch machine, because that's how you consider it. If you register as a hunter, that playing with a longsword will often result in you getting flinched and you don't prepare, then what are you doing? Monster Hunter is a game about accurately preparing for the situation, so do it! React accordingly and deal with it. If you were fighting a tiger in real life and you had a friend with a 6-foot long sword helping you out, you would probably be pretty goddamn upset if they hit you with the sword. It's just the way that it is. If you want to complain about flinching being a mechanic in general, that's a conversation at least. That's a debate to have. But just saying, remove longsword, haha, that's a fudging joke. Yes, I'm trying to say fudge now. There's something sort of lighthearted about it. Fukin?
In relation to a tweet about the Mizitsune equipment, this looks absolutely horrible. What the actual fuck? Also, the greatsword is just a slap-on design like World's weapons, but you people won't admit to it, huh?
Fukin, we say fudge now.
Maybe you say fudge now.
We'll talk about this later. This comment is absolutely horrid. What the actual fudge? It is also entirely unfounded slap-on opinion, but no one ever admits to that. Literally, look at the weapon. Sure, it is made of metal, but that doesn't mean it's a base iron sword with a couple of trinkets attached. It is a totally unique shape. The coloring and pattern is gorgeous, and it has some extra flavor bits. Why are you so passionately against the style of this game? You say the whole thing looks horrible, but that is just such a specifically opinion-based thing to say. It's a Monster Hunter armor set. There are some people who adore this more than any other armor set in the game, and there are some people who despise it. Humans have tons of personal thoughts about aesthetics of things. It's just a part of what makes us all so unique. So stop pretending that your uniqueness is the way that everyone on the goddamn planet feels. You're literally here sharing your opinion, stating your opinion, then saying that people who disagree with you are basically lying. You cannot have a real open discussion from that. It doesn't start a dialogue. It's just basically an expletive in a full-on paragraph instead of a tiny single vulgar word. Fukin?
In a post about adding a player versus player system to the Monster Hunter series, essentially how it could work is that when you're in the areas, players can damage each other and kill each other. Let's say, for example, you watch a party of 4 kill a monster. In a PvP system, another team could ambush this party after they kill the monster and then take all of the loot. I think it would really introduce a dynamic way to play the game. It would make you worry not only about your build for monsters, but also other players.
No, I very specifically personally have spoken out in favor of a potential spin-off Monster Hunter game from the series that is PvP specific, something maybe based around guild knights hunting down rogue hunters, which would be cool, but just working PvP into the main series, main game's main hunting loop is a really terrible idea. It's not an evolution to the franchise, as you claim in the comments of the same post, not some grand foretold change that is bound to happen sooner or later. It is a thing that could happen, I guess, but it would be an incredibly large swing from what our current gameplay is. Monster Hunter multiplayer is about cooperating, working together to overcome the natural threat, the greater threat. That's what hunting is about. In essence, it's people helping people to overcome the overgrown monsters. Even solo hunting, you are hunting these monsters to help other people in the lore. Just in in various ways. PvP as a concept in the way that you describe it is essentially just becoming a Monster Hunter universe bandit. The morality questions aside, just the lore of the universe would more or less implode from the idea of player characters just being cool with gladiatorial style combat loot fights after killing a monster. Like, what Hunters Guild would permit this? What system could support it long term? Again, maybe a crazy spin-off Monster Hunter game based around rogue hunters, but this is just simply not a thing that is necessary for the main series, not even slightly. And on top of that, you seem to have completely misunderstood the story of the Ugly Duckling by referring to the series without this feature as an ugly duckling. The Ugly Duckling is about the beauty on the mother-fudging inside, and in what way would adding slaughtering your fellow hunters bring that beauty to the outside? Who is not currently interested in Monster Hunter, who would see that and go, oh, that pushes me over the edge. The regular Monster Hunter gameplay loop that already exists, that I dislike. But now also there's murder afterwards. This really brings out the greatest parts of Monster Hunter. That's just insane. It's insane. That's it. I'm done. I'm not doing more today. All right, everyone. I've been Con Dinosaur, and this has been my opinion about other people's opinions on the Monster Hunter series as a whole. Do you have any thoughts on these takes? Do you have any obscure thoughts of your own that you'd like to share? Like if you like the video, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more. And most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet. Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.